Aren't you glad that
Amen.
you will do those things? Amen.
Hallelujah. Yeah.
That the cross was truly enough. And so sin does have consequences. The other thing, and I don't know how many, I didn't number them. Do you know what number we're on? Anybody that's taking notes?
3.
Is it 3? So we need to go to 4? Or we need to go to 3?
Gave 3.
Do what?
We gave 3.
I gave 3?
Sin has consequences.
It's number 3?
That's what I have.
Okay, I think you're right. Sin hurts and dishonors God. Sin sets you against God.
Yes.
Sin has consequences, so that's 3.
Yes.
Don't need to know the number, but it's nice to systematically go down. 4, sin steals your time. You ever think about that one? Because the reality is instead of going forward, we go backwards. So it really just wastes our time. Instead of bearing fruit, we become barren. Instead of that fig tree that's actually bearing fruit, it just looks like it should be by now. In fact, some of us could say to ourselves, I've been thus many years in the Lord, and there's still this issue that God is dealing with in our life.
Yes.
And we should say to ourselves, it's time to say today it needs to be dealt with. God wants us to go on, and we waste our time not allowing Him to deal with us in our life where there's certain things that we need to give up.
Amen.
And again, you see those things as a reality in Samson's life, reality in Judas's life. And those things should send chill bumps up and down our spine. When God is putting His finger on something in our life, we need to be serious about it and say, okay, it's time to deal with those things in my life. In fact, Ephesians says, redeeming the time. Number 5, right? Sin hurts you and it never, ever helps you. It's the other reason why you should never do it. Believe it or not, sin really doesn't help you. And that's kind of one of those duh, it's like, hello. But yet, we think it helps us because it's something we want to do to number one, if we're lying, it's to get us out of something. Or if we're saying something about somebody, it's to feel good that, hey, I've got some information you don't even know about. Or maybe they've done a certain thing, so you say a certain thing about them so that they can have empathy for you. Saying, yeah, they shouldn't have treated you that way. You're right, you should be mad at them. And often that's what we want, is reassurance that we were done wrong. But the reality is we need to deny ourselves and take up the cross. And here's a revelation. We'll be done wrong, every one of us. But we're never going to be done wrong as much as Jesus was done wrong. And Jesus forgave them for everything that was done to Him. Sin hunts you down like a dog, and it hunts you until it hurts you.
Yes.
And then it destroys you. So, again, sin never, ever helps you. So if you're looking for help for sin, don't call upon the name of sin, because He's not going to help you. Only Jesus can help you. Amen.
Hallelujah.
And oftentimes you don't even see it coming, where sin sneaks up on us. Did the wife know? You'd think, hello, where's my husband? Was he not up here? But she done the same thing. But yet sin is deceitful, especially when it's not instant. Whenever it's something that we can get away with. We can become like 2-year-olds. Well, I got away with it, once.
Yeah.
Mom didn't see me steal those cookies. And because there's not immediate consequences, sometimes it can deceive us into thinking everything's fine. What if Eve would have been struck dead as soon as she ate that fruit? Do you think Adam would have done it? Maybe I'll learn something from this. But yet sin is deceitful. Of course, knowing him, he probably would have, hey, let's just do it anyways. Looks too good. But because we don't immediately die and kill over, like Ananias and Sapphira, a lot of times we think we can just get by and that God is winking at those things. But the reality is he's not. The reality is he's having mercy. Because if he was just, he would just strike us dead right there. He would, by right, he doesn't even need to give us salvation. He should just strike us dead and send us to hell as soon as we sin against him. Yet it's his very mercy that we're held up by. The very fact that we have the next heartbeat, the very fact that we can breathe the next breath is the very mercy of God that he's given us time to repent and to change in our life. So the question is, do we take those things in vain? Do we take the richness of God in vain? Sin never helps you. Number whatever. Sin takes your strength. Judges 16:19 says this. Then she lured him, this is Delilah, she lured him to sleep on her knees and called for a man and had him shave off the 7 locks of his head. Then she began to torment him. Doesn't that sound like the devil?
Yes.
Then she began to torment him and his strength left him. And she said, the Philistines are upon you, Samson. So awoke from his sleep and said, I will go out as before. Notice what he's saying. I will go out as before at other times and shake myself free. But he did not know that the Lord had departed from him. And see, that to me is one of the most sobering scriptures. There's a lot of sobering scripture. That's a pretty sobering one. And the reason I say that is because there's so many people that say to themselves, I'm just going to go out in the world and see what it's like and then I'm going to come back.
That's right.
Just like before. I've done it before. I've sinned and repented. I've sinned and asked the Lord to forgive me. And I've shook myself free before. Well, how do you know you will this next time? Only by the mercy of God.
That's right.
Hallelujah. Thank you, God.
And it's true, God's mercy is deep and God's mercy is long and everlasting.
Yes.
But should we test those things? And I wish more people were here to hear that and understand that, but it's something we truly need to understand and express to other people, because there's so many people that say to themselves, I'm just going to go try it out.